Giants have been around since time began, and they're not your regular-sized human beings. The Bible described them as possessing extraordinary heights, stature, strength, and even a completely different appetite from that of humans. They were so fascinating that even a fully grown man standing beside them would look puny, petite, and completely insignificant as a grasshopper in comparison to them. The Bible spoke of giants in different times and dispensations, both in positive and negative light. But then one would begin to wonder what led to their extinction. If giants were common in Bible days, then what were the most formidable giants in Bible times? One cannot talk about the existence of giants in the Bible without the mention of the Nephilim. They were the first giants who were ever mentioned in the Bible. They were born as a result of the sexual affairs of the sons of God, angels, with the daughters of men, who, with time, gave birth to huge monstrous giants, referred to in the Bible as the Nephilim. Genesis 6:2-4. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. However, the book of Enoch gave a more detailed story about how the Nephilim came to be, how unruly they were, and how their very existence brought chaos and destruction to our world. 1 Enoch 7:2-5. And they became pregnant, and brought forth great giants whose stature was 3 ells. They devoured all the acquisitions of mankind until men were unable to sustain themselves. And the giants turned themselves against mankind in order to devour them, and they began to sin against the birds and the beasts, and against the creeping things, and the fish, and devoured their flesh among themselves, and drank the blood thereof. If you thought the Nephilim were the only giants in the Bible whose existence was like a plague on the earth, then you would be amazed to learn about the giants in the land of Canaan. After enduring slavery for over 400 years, the children of Israel were taken out of their captivity from the land of Egypt, led by Moses into the wilderness. One would think that after slavery comes rest, but no, that wasn't the case, for they lingered in the wilderness for 40 years before God instructed them to move to the promised land. And so they appointed 12 men to go in as spies into the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey, to scout the lands. But what they found was nerve-wracking. Numbers 13:28-33. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover we saw the children of Anak there. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. The giants they encountered not only installed fear in them, but also made the idea of taking back the land seem next to impossible. However, there were other giants whose existence alone was a hindrance to the victory of the Israelites. We shall take a look at that in the next case. The story of David and Goliath is a very famous story in the Bible. Goliath, the Gittite, is the most well-known giant in the Bible. He is described as a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, and they believed with him on their side, the battle was already won. But he allowed his pride and stature to rule his thinking, and so he challenged the Israelites for over 40 days to bring out their best man to come out and fight him. The whole people of Israel were scared to their teeth, because looking at the size of this giant and his CV, he was practically undefeatable until David showed up. 1 Samuel 17:4-7, 49, and 51. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath, of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and the spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. Therefore David ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. It is one thing to be a giant, but another to threaten the children of God. The Israelites were God's chosen, and to stand against them was like standing against God himself, and the ultimate price was what the giant in our next case paid. Og, the king of Bashan, was said to be even bigger than Goliath, as it was recorded that he slept on an iron bed that was over 13 feet long and 6 feet wide. The land was associated with the Rephaim to the extent of being called the land of Rephaim. Deuteronomy 3:11 and 13. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. And the rest of Gilead, and all Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave I unto the half-tribe of Manasseh, all the region of Argob, with all Bashan, which was called the land of giants. One thing is common with all these giants so far, and that's the fact that they stood in the way of God's plans, and God always found a way of removing them from the equation, and so was the fate of the giants in our next case. According to the Bible, these 4 were the brothers of Goliath of Gath the Philistine, and obviously they didn't learn from what happened to their brother, and as such, met the same fate. Goliath's 3rd brother does not appear in the Bible, so we have named him Exadactylus, as it was said that he had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes. 2 Samuel 21:16-22. And Ishbibanob, which was of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight, he being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah succored him, and smote the Philistine, and killed him. Then the men of David sware unto him, saying, Thou shalt go no more out with us to battle, that thou quench not the light of Israel. And it came to pass after this, that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite slew Saph, which was of the sons of the giant. And there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanan the son of Jaareoregim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where was a great man of stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimeiah, the brother of David, slew him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. One thing is common and evident in all these cases. They all stood against God's plans for his children, and in the end, they all met the same fate. They were completely annihilated from the face of the earth. Even today, we still see humans who possess the subtle traits of giants. It is unfortunate that every story associated with giants in the Bible always ended on a negative note, but, notwithstanding, giants remain formidable and fascinating beings to have existed. What do you think about giants? You can add your own story in the comment section. See you in the next video. Bye.